Hey guys, welcome to another exciting episode of the Stash Report from the Stash Project. It's actually the 17th of May, 2015. That is a Sunday morning. It is like 2 in the morning. Just got done with work, and after downloading a bunch more pictures, I decided to reshoot this video that I actually had shot on Friday, edited on Friday, and just needed to be uploaded. And I got a bunch of pictures from the Shizouka hobby show, and I wanted to share those with you for what we're going to talk about this week, since all of those kits are going to be coming out in the next 2 to 3 months, 2 to 6 months probably, more likely. But, you know, I said in the other video that I filmed, I wish I had this stuff, so instead of wishing I had it, I just went ahead and got it. So hopefully this will be put up today on Sunday afternoon once I get back up before I go back to work again. At any rate, we have a lot of new stuff to talk about. We have the Shizouka show stuff, which of course isn't really new, but we're going to see a lot of built pictures of the kits as they're getting ready to go. Some of them are built test shots, some of them are built completed models, both from the production runs. There is a new kit we found out about from BMAX. We also have the third quarter releases from Revell to talk about, as well as the June spot runs from Fujimi. So a lot to cover. Let's go ahead and roll on out with that. Oh, I guess one other thing before I get started, I got to throw a shout out to CT over CT Speed Shop. I saw that he made a video the other day. It popped up on my phone that he had uploaded a video, and I just sort of glanced at the title, and I didn't actually watch it, and apparently it was about me, and so I'm going to throw a link in the description to his channel. It's the least I can do, and I don't know how many people here don't watch him. Obviously, about 20 of you or so watch him, and now, or at least subscribe temporarily to my channel, so I'll send what people I have here that don't know of him over there as a thank you. Not going to send him any model kits. He has to win fair and square just like everybody else does. At any rate, thanks again, CT. So, I guess we're going to go straight on to the Revell third quarter releases. Now, if you don't belong to any major modeling forum, you may not have heard about this. If you have, bear with me. We'll review this real quick. You might want to blow this up full size on your computer if you're watching this at home. If you're on a phone, deal with it the best you can, I guess. So this is your 2015 third quarter new releases from Revell. Now, new releases might be a little optimistic, but there are a few new things here. Starting up on top, you're seeing apparently, I guess, in monogram boxing, because there's a monogram logo beside the truck on the left, and it doesn't have another one over there beside the tow truck, but the one on the left is in fact the 1/16th scale Kenworth W900 Aerodyne Conventional. I'm not sure when the last time this 1/16 scale kit was out. I do know from talking to a few truck modeling friends of mine that this is the more popular of the two large-scale truck kits that, I guess, I don't know if it was real monogram. I guess it was monogram that actually did them originally, now that I think about it. Also up there you see the Revell 1/25 scale Kenworth Wrecker. This is a different kit than the Can-Do, because remember the Can-Do is a 1/24 scale 3-axle Peterbilt. So this is the 1/25 scale Revell kit. It has been sold by Revell of Germany a few times, but much like the auto transport trailer, it was a kit that was designed in the United States that was produced over in Europe. On the second line, some Snap-Tight kits. A lot of people have been debating the pros and cons of these new Snap-Tight Max Ford Fusion NASCAR kits. Now, we're finding out every day a little bit more about them, and probably have lots more to talk about as they get closer to being put out. The initial release date for these is September, but Revell has been backsliding on most everything this year, so that may be wildly optimistic, depending on how much work has actually been done in the tooling department of these. They are Snap-Tight kits, but they're going to be new, what they're calling Level 2 kits. You may recall, if you, again, spend any time on any kind of forums, I don't think I've actually discussed it here, that Revell was going to start doing a 5-step difficulty listing similar to the way Revell of Germany does. And the Snap-Tight, basic Snap-Tight kits are going to be 1, and these new category off Snap-Tight Max is going to be 2, and then your glue kits will start at 3 for the pre-paints and go up from there. So these are supposed to have something resembling a full detail chassis, if only sort of promo style. There is not going to be engines with these, so the hoods aren't going to open. They're going to be curbside in that respect. There is debate one way or the other whether or not these are going to be pre-finished in the sense that they will come already painted and possibly already decaled. Of course, stripping it off shouldn't be that major of a concern. There is also some scattered rumblings, and I must stress how much of a supposition and speculation this is, that Revell, if these sell well, may consider doing the Chevy SS and Toyota Camry NASCAR kits so that you could, in fact, I suppose, with aftermarket support, create pretty much any, I almost said Winston Cup. There's going back into when I started watching NASCAR. Any Sprint Cup Series car available, if all three body styles are available. I personally... maybe because it's the Ford Fusions, and I've never been a big Ford guy. I was Dale Earnhardt all the way until he passed, and I never really have settled on any particular driver since then. So I've never really been a big Ford guy anyway. I mean, I like Alan Kowicki, I like Davey Allison. Those were Ford guys, obviously. But I don't know. My big problem with these are the fact that they're snap-tight kits. I don't care how much better a snap-tight kit these are. If they're more like the Chevy Caprice and the Acura NSX and other kits that they did in the 90s that were sort of semi-full detail, snap-tight kits. But I'm not in for NASCAR right now. I've moved on to GT3 endurance racing for the most part of being my flavor of racing style. And I don't know. At this point, I can't commit to more snap-tight until I know more about these kits, because the last snap-tight NASCAR kits we got was the Car of Tomorrow Impala SS that Round 2 did under the AMT banner that was also a snap-tight, and that was just, frankly, guys, a toy. I mean, it wasn't even a real model kit. It was a goofy, cheap, dinky toy. Even the Auto World one that came with the more conventional deck spoiler, got rid of that giant, goofy rear wing that they were putting on the cars of tomorrow's. It was just an awful model kit, and really wasn't even a model kit in that way. And I can't hold out a lot of hope. The only thing I hope is the MAX does not stand for disappointment level of the people who are really looking forward to getting these NASCAR kits out. Beside that is a 2017 Ford Raptor. This will be a minorly modified version of the build and play kit that they gave out at the Detroit Auto Show this year. It looks like they've added some mirrors to it, and that's probably going to be pretty much it. Or the mirrors may just be Photoshop, and they will not be there. Who knows? On the third line is your traditional Revell kits. You're getting another reissue of the 72 Oldsmobile convertible. I suppose it's only been the second one, technically, if you count the first Hearst as being the original kit, and then the custom Cutlass being that actually had the up top as being the first reissue of it. The only difference between this one and the other kits are you get a Linda Vaughn figure, as well as, of course, the decals to make the Indy 500 pace car. The Indy 500 stuff seems to sell pretty well for round 2 is in a collectible sense. This may be, excuse me, guys, may be bought by a lot of people who just have no intention whatsoever of ever building it. Will just collect it because of the Indy 500 connection that it has. Next to it is the Speedwagon, the 32 Ford base kit. I don't know if that's been out since it was released. Then you have what they're calling Brian's Mitsubishi Eclipse. No word exactly on whether or not this is going to be an actual version of the car from the movie. I mean, it looks like it from this picture. Or it's going, because the history of the Mitsubishi Eclipse, to go off topic for half a second, the 2-in-1 tuner car is a plastic-based version of a die-cast. And Revell did a die-cast version of the actual Mitsubishi from the movie, but that was not what was produced in the kit. So it remains to be seen if this is going to be the 2-in-1 reissued with just some decals and things to make it more correct to the movie, or if this is actually going to be that car with plastic put through that die-cast mold. And then you have the Ed Roth Dragnut. I like the fact that the scale is non-applicable because, it's outside I don't want to say realm, but it's outside of my experience in life. I'm, God bless you guys that were, there from the beginning in the 60s, and for you, those kits hold a lot of special meaning. But the Ed Roth stuff, all the show rods, it's it's over my head. It's so far outside my experience growing up and anything that it just I have nothing to say about it negatively. Just it's I don't get I don't get the Ed Roth thing. I mean, I get it culturally speaking, artistly speaking, but to be like, oh boy, I wish I had a model kit of that. Yeah. So for you guys who enjoy it, congratulations, you're getting that reissued. All right, I had to make a cut there. I was dying from coughing, so I had to get some water in me. So anyway, back to what we were talking about. Notebook of Knowledge time. Let's talk about the June Fujimi Spot Run new kit information type thing here. You got, let's see, 2, 4, 6 kits in June. 2 reissues, 2 semi-new kits, and 2 new sort of venture, I want to call it, from as far as they're concerned. The new venture are a Fiat 500, and this will be, the current Fiat, not the old 1960s Fiat, as well as a Nissan GTR R34. These are being marketed as Easy Max. The exact English from Japanese translation is something to the effect of molded in plastic, so paint is not needed to make good look model. So I don't know if this is going to be like along the lines of an Aoshima pre-painted kit where everything's going to be done for you and you just need to assemble it, or if they really are just molding the parts in different colors and along the lines of, say, like a monogram kit was molded in color, it's going to be, semi-passable without painting. Don't really have enough information about it right now to determine exactly what that means. The pricing on them is not that much cheaper than, say, a regular Fiat 500, so it's not like they've decontented it in any way. I mean, if you happen to be lucky enough, if you want to call it that. I mean, I have one, but I like my sort of goofy oddball cars. If you have a Fiat 500 that Fujimi did, they can't really decontent it much anyway. It's already a pretty basic curbside of a kit in the first place. The 2 reissues, you're looking at the 1971 Nissan Skyline GTR CPG-10. This is the first-gen Skyline. You probably traditionally think of Tamiya when you think of this Skyline because of Tamiya's long-existing kit plus the street, what were they calling that? The street custom version that they put out last year that had the few extra parts and the photo etch in it. Fujimi's version of it is a curbside. It is not necessarily a bad kit or a bad curbside. It does have a engine molded into the chassis, of course, but it is sort of freestanding once you get past the transmission. It is much like any of the Tamiya 911 Porsches where the transaxle part is molded to the chassis itself, but the engine sort of floats in thin air, so you could detail the engine without having to sort of paint around it and fill in a giant void of plastic that's molded into, think any Fujimi other kit that you want to there. The big tagline with this, learned a new sort of phrasing in Japan from watching the HLJ guys at Shizouka this week, and that is gimmick. Of course, gimmick is a English word as well, meaning sort of a trick or a sleight of hand or something goofy. In Japanese, the idea of a gimmick is a neat feature or something special. So the gimmick with the 71 Skyline is going to have 2 sets of wheels, both a traditional first-gen Skyline set as well as, I believe, either a set of Watanabes or a set of the Hayabusa wheels, because the Skyline was done in one of 3 different ways from Fujimi. It just had regular sort of steel wheel covers like you see on the actual Tamiya Skyline of the same generation, one with a set of 8-spoke Watanabes, and then one with in a series called the Hayabusa Street, which has sort of a chromish 10-spoke mag wheel. Don't know which 2 they're going to choose. A steel wheel will probably be one of them. Probably find out more about what 2 wheels they are sometime next month. And then the other reissue is the Nissan Skyline S15. This is going to be Spec R/Aero Custom. This is going to be one of these kits where Fujimi is taking 2 kits that they have sold independently of one another and combining them into one. The Spec R was one kit. The Aero package was a different one. There's not really a great deal of difference between the 2 as far as appearance-wise. Aero package really legitimately is a set of ground effects. I don't actually think the wheels were even different. I'd have to actually go look, because they're similar enough that they don't appear to be different upon first glance. But you do get, like I said, both building options in one box, and that will have window masks in it for the first time. The two other kits that Fujimi is doing, like I said, it's 2 in the morning, so excuse my stumbling, is they're going to be doing what they're calling a McLaren F1 GTR street car. Now, that doesn't exist. That's not a real thing as far as what McLarens were sold as. What I believe it is going to be, without any real basis in reality, I guess, is this. And what this is, guys, is the McLaren F1 LM, the car they built specially to celebrate their victories in Le Mans, in, I believe, in 1995 or 1996. They made 5 of these total. 3 of them were in the papaya orange color that you see on your screen. 2 of them were done in a black and gray scheme that replicated the Uno Clinic cars that ran that year. Both of those were bought by the Sultan of Brunei. It's nice to have a bunch of oil chic money, I guess. Like I said, there are only 5 of these made, and I assume this has to be what they're talking about, because if you look at the picture closely, you'll notice it has the race-style front splitter, it has the race 5-spoke wheels from the race car, a race-style spoiler. The only other, they only made so many McLaren F1s to begin with. The only 2 specialty ones were this car and what was known as the F1 GT. Now, the F1 GT was the homogenization car for the long tail that ended up getting made. But, of course, a long tail is not a short tail, so I don't believe that that's actually what it is. And there's only one GT made anyway. The other kit that Fujimi is going to be making that is allegedly a new mold, if I could find the picture. Maybe I did not actually... Yeah, I must not grab it, so please hold while I grab a picture here. Or maybe I can't grab a picture while I'm in the... All right. Well, you're going to see my ugly face for a second here. It's going to be a 2013 Lexus LS 600 HL. Now, that is, for anybody who, follows the nomenclature really closely, is the hybrid LS 600 limo. It is a sort of a, not really an extended wheelbase necessarily, as much as it is a much more luxurious backseat. It is much like a Maybach. It is a car that you are driven around in rather than a car that you drive yourself. And I know I downloaded a picture of it specifically so I could talk about it, because I sort of stumbled all over it in the video I recorded earlier, and it's not in the... There we go. So the 2013 version represents the 3rd version of this LS600 that's been done. If you don't follow Fujimi kits real closely, and this is sort of more of an obscure Japanese type thing, because all of these, except with the exception of, I believe, 2 or 3 of them, were only done in JDM. They were only done in right-hand drive. But from the early 2000s through the mid-2000s, they did an entire series of Lexus kits. They started with a version of the Toyota Aristo that they had done as an IS 200-300, and then moved on to doing the LS 400, the original one, as well as a Lexus SC based on the Toyota Soarer that they had done. And then they moved on into sort of a more modern set of Lexuses in the mid-2000s and did a 250H, which is the little sort of Corolla-based hybrid, as well as an IS 250, an IS 350, an LS 460, and then the LS 600 HL. The HL got done once in the 2006 or so when the car came out, and then about 2 years ago it was updated to the 2010 specifications, and then here recently, next month it'll be updated into the 2013 spec. So you're going to get the sort of predator face Lexus, as people like to call that grill opening. This is actually a limo version. They do sell them here in the United States, but like I said, all of them except for the IS 200, 300, and the Soarer and the original LS 400 have all been done. All the modern ones have all been done in right-hand drive Japanese spec only. So I assume that will follow course with this as well. They're saying it's a new mold. I don't know enough about the chassis of these cars to think that this chassis has changed much, so I would suspect that more than likely a lot of the chassis and dirty parts will carry over, but it is going to require a new body, new wheels, and a new interior. So it is, in that sense, new. And they're saying late June. It's probably going to go into July, if not maybe August. Again, depending on how much work they have done with it. Fujimi is very secretive the way Tamiya is as far as what they let go, information-wise. And, Tamiya kits you find out 2 months ahead of time, and then they actually get them out 2 months later because they've had it in development for a year prior. So, considering this fact that it's mid-2015 on a 2013 car, obviously, it's something that's been in production for a while. I'd really like to see Fujimi go ahead and update all the rest of the Lexuses as well. Perhaps not the LS460. People probably don't care one way or another about that. But the IS cars certainly are a great deal more interesting now than they were 8-10 years ago. And I guess, guys, that brings us to all of the goodies from the Shizouka Hobby Show. So we have a lot to cover here. I'm going to try to plow through it as fast as I can to not bore you, but these are going to be pictures. So, if you're one of the people that listen to me in the car, this is going to mean nothing to you, I guess. But if you're watching this, hey, eye candy. First up, we're going to talk about real quick is this. This is the new Nissan Sunny GB120 pickup. This is based on the GB121 kit that was released at the end of last year. What is being done here is sort of backdating the kit model year-wise into the first-gen Sunny. What you're going to get with this is this set of parts here. You're going to get a new grille, some dog dish or pie pan hubcaps, new seats, a new steering wheel, as well as a new gauge cluster. That's what that thing is there off to the left-hand side of the steering wheel. I think you're also going to get a couple of bumpers and some mirrors. The one to the right is going to be a chromed tree. You do realize that there are two grills. You're not going to use them both. The other grill is for the GB121, but somewhere between the 120 and the 121, the grill changed without it being an actual model year change. This will allow you to build this truck, I think, anyway from 1973 to 1984 or something similar to that. It gives you the option, basically the option to build anything from the beginning of the production run all the way through a middle run of the second generation of this truck. There is going to be, I believe, one more generation of this truck in the end, because there are parts to the GB121 kit that only belong to a GB122 kit, which is like the mid-'80s through the late 80s. I expected that kit to come out, before this one. I didn't even know this one was coming because, the parts were already in it for the 122, and there's not enough parts in it to actually make a 122 with what you're given in the 121. I know it's a lot of numbers, but if you think about it as 120 is first gen, 121 is second gen, 122 is third gen, over the course of about 15 years worth of trucks, this right here, like I said, is going to be a first gen. So that covers the one Hasegawa automotive kit for 2015 that we know about at this point. That, I believe, would then chuck us over to Tamiya. Tamiya is going to be doing two kits in the next 2 months as far as automotive releases go. This one is actually for this month, for May. If you look at the card behind there, you see 5/30, so that's May 30th is the expected release date on this. This is the Honda S600. Based on the Honda S800, I would assume, as far as a lot of the parts will probably carry over. It required a new body and some interior pieces and some engine pieces. Excuse me. But otherwise, it's pretty much, 78% of the other kit. It is a full detail. You do get a complete engine with this. If you have at any point in your life built one of the S800s from Tamiya, then you basically know what to expect here. Again, it's just basically a new body that you're going to be getting with this. The other one that Tamiya is going to be doing, and this is for June release, is the Toyota AA. This is, of course, the Toyota, not the Toyota. This is back when the car was actually 1936, I believe, is when the Toyota AA came out. This is the first production car that Toyota ever did. And this is, again, back when it was with a D, not a T, before the name was changed. Incidentally, these Tamiya pictures, the one I just showed you and this one and the next one, are all being courtesy of Masahiko Nakasone, who happened to be at the show. And then here's you're going to be your parts runner layout for the kit. Got some chrome, clear. You got, I guess, one great big tree and one smaller tree, and then you got your body over there. You'll notice this is not a full detail kit, guys. It is a curbside. Now, you do get a chassis, or a set of frame rails, I guess I should say, that is separate from the chassis. I know a lot of people wanted to do hot rods with this. A lot of people wanted to do a Japanese Chrysler Airflow with it because it looks very much like a Chrysler Airflow. The way that is constructed, that's going to be a little more difficult, I think, than anybody expected going in. Of course, if you're a modeler and you own a Dremel or a Sawzall or something, you can get that hood open and you can get that, sort of buck out of the way there between the front fenders to allow an engine to go in there. But it's not going to be quite as easy as you would have expected. Now, you do get basically an entire bottom to the engine. It's up there like the second thing in on the top right of the big parts runner, above the brakes and beside the grill shell. So you do get some detail to it, but it's not going to be a full detail kit. One of the gimmick to this is going to be that you notice there between the seats and the door cards and the spare tire carrier is a driver figure. So, sort of an odd thing. You haven't seen a driver figure get included in a Tamiya kit probably since the 1980s. That wasn't a race car. So, it's a very detailed kit. I don't happen to have a picture of the guy sitting in the car. They did show, much like the way the gull-wing was shown, this has been shown in like various assembly stages. It's a very, very detailed figure. One thing you probably really can't make out very well from this picture is the fact that all of the gold trim or brass trim or whatever you want to consider this to be on the side of the car is all being done with decals. So that should be really kind of interesting to get that all laid down. I'm a decal guy. I love some complex decaling, but that is some very thin metallic decaling. And if you rip that, I don't know how you replace it necessarily, unless maybe it'll be similar to gold bare metal foil. But I don't think, based on looking at the molding itself, that there's a ridge there that you could sort of skip the decal and do with actual BMF. And that takes us over to basically all of the BMAX and Aoshima kits. I'm going to include BMAX, Aoshima, and I think make sure I got this up. Yeah, and Bell kits, all in one big fell swoop here because all of them are distributed by Aoshima in Japan, and therefore they were all more or less in the same booth. The one sort of new kit that we didn't have any kind of inkling about or any information on is this E30 Gen 124 scale BMW M3. Now, this is a race car, guys. It's not a street car. I know for a lot of people that is because a lot of people would really love it if we get rid of that misproportioned, malformed Fujimi E30 3 Series. But at least for the right now, unless you wanted a E-Series or E30 3 Series race car, you're out of luck because this is going to be a race car. I've seen other pictures of it. It does have a roll cage inside, and of course it's got the one single wiper on it. No information on this other than what it is. It's a BMW. There's nothing about what race this might be representing, what driver it might be representing, series it might be representing. It's just this. This was, like I said, a brand new announcement. Had not heard anything about it beforehand. Going into some other rapid prototyping 3D tooling specs. Here's your Nissan 240 RS New Zealand Rally. Let me flip to the correct page here. This will be 1983. This is going to be your 1985 Safari Rally Toyota Celica TA64. Here is your EF3 Civic Group A 1989 PIAA car. They've got decals for this. They've got a few other things. This actually looks like a test shot, a really bad test shot as far as fit-wise goes, but a test shot nonetheless. In the sense that the other ones are obviously 3D tooling mock-ups. I believe this one is probably the furthest along of the 3 kits that were announced at Nuremberg. And then you have the stuff that BMAX is actually going to have coming out here in the next couple of months, that being the 1/20th scale McLaren MP42 1984 British Grand Prix. You notice there's just peeking out, I didn't actually download it, the picture of it, is the detail up parts, photo etch, wiring harnesses, I guess bare metal foil-ish type thing for the heat shielding, a bunch of carbon fiber decals for the whole thing. And then the other kit that BMAX, of course, has coming out at the moment is the Chevy Cruze World Touring Championship car. This is going to have basically not 3 whole sets of decals in it, but 3 roof flags and 3 driver-specific associate sponsorship kind of things, you want to call it that. This is, of course, the parts runner for the kit. And then you can build this car with the British flag on it here, of Mr. Huff. And then these other 2 show a French driver and a Swiss driver. So what you guys are going to get, because, again, I grabbed the wrong pictures to describe this entirely, are the roof decals are the roof. The flags on the roof are decals. They're not. You don't have to paint them that way. So you're gonna get 3 roof decals, 1 for each driver for the country that they resided from, and then you're gonna get the driver the car number, the mirrors. If you notice, the mirrors on these things are the flags of the country. The drivers' names have a flag of their country with it as well. Otherwise, the cars are pretty much identical. I ordered 3 of these, not to build all 3 of them out of the box, because I know there are going to be some aftermarket decals coming down the line from Autocolor as well as Racing 43 decal. But now I may need to order more because they're going to actually offer you the ability to build all 3 of the Team Cruze cars straight out of the box. So that's kind of an interesting thing. There's also a detail upset for this. This is going to include some photo etch as well as a little mini sheet, if you want to call it that, of carbon fiber. It's not going to be anywhere nearly as robust as, say, a Studio 27 set would be, but it is a great deal more than you would get just out of a box. There's no carbon fiber in the box whatsoever, apparently. Bell kits, of course, we all know the VW Polo. Red Bull Racing kit is currently in final production. It's got all of its approval. I believe it's being actually, produced right now. So it's not a pipe dream anymore. This one is right around the corner. I think it's got a late June or early July release date attached to it as it stands right now. I know a lot of people want to know about the Escort Rally car. Guys, that's still in 3D files. I don't even have a rapid prototype of the tooling yet, so there's not anything to show there. And then I guess we're going to go, the only thing we have really left to talk about at this point then is the Aoshima stuff. Let me make sure I've got everything covered there. And so going into the Aoshima stuff, this is that's a Cruze. There we go. This is the Liberty Walk LB Works Ken and Mary 330 Laurel police car. This is the Seibu Kitsatsu Nissan Safari Nissan Patrol 4-wheel drive and tank car. This is done obviously as a fire vehicle to support all of the police vehicles that are also in the series. This is the K-Brake Impol Y31 SEMA Obayashi. Supposed to get a new set of wheels with this, as well as the actual body kit itself is going to be new. This is the K-Brake Crown Hyper Zero Custom version 1. A bunch of new parts to this, obviously, the new front and back and ground effects. Also supposed to be a new set of 19-inch wheels with this. And this is the Crown Athlete pre-paint. It's coming in black. This is the Crown Royal Hybrid Saloon pre-paint. It's done in silver. These are all completely pre-painted. If you look behind it, you can see even the glass, the black surrounds of the glass are painted, as well as the actual roof liner, the headliner in the glass is painted too. So you really don't have to do much of anything other than clean up sprue attachment points or spruces attachment points. This is the E70 Corolla sedan late type. New bumper, new grille, some decals, some interior pieces. Still based off the older Best Car Vintage GT chassis. Be interesting to see how much work is required to make this. Anybody who's bought the DX or the GT of the early type knows that you have to do some surgery to the car to get the new parts to fit. This is going to be your Mazda RX-7 1996 FDS 3S Type 4. This gets a new set of wheels, a new spoiler, a new steering wheel, and some other trim parts. With this kit, this will make all of the FD3S versions that Mazda made during the FD3S run available through Aoshima. That's all 4 of the body styles. Very, very, very minor differences between the 4, but all 4 of them nonetheless. Here's your 2015 Nissan GTR North American Premium Edition. The only thing that's different about this kit than the Pure Edition or the Standard Edition or whatever they called the 2014 one that they did that was only JDM spec is, of course, the left-hand drive parts tree, which is like 7 parts on one runner. Other than that, it's a completely identical duplicate to the Japanese one that was done a few months ago. Here's your McLaren F1 GTR Longtail 1998 Le Mans British GT EMI number 40. No word exactly if they're going to do decals for both the British GT series and the 98 Le Mans race. I believe this is the British GT series decals on here right here. And then you have the 88 Lamborghini Countach fuel injected 5000 Quattro. So that covers, I believe, yes, everything from Shizouka. So again, there's nothing new about any of that other than the BMW M3 from BMAX. But I think it's nice to see, what you're going to get in the kits as far as being, built production runs, built test shots, whichever they might be there. Lets you know how close they are to getting those kits to market. Of course, all of those kits, including the BMAX ones, which of course aren't going to make it, but all of them were supposed to come out in the next 2 to 3 months, sometime between now and the end of July. The BMAX stuff, you got to face it, the Civic's the closest. It's probably August. That would be my guess. The other ones, maybe you'll get them before Christmas if you're lucky. Not that, not bashing BMAX or anything else like that, but obviously the release dates that they made for these things were completely and totally ridiculously optimistic. And, especially the Corolla. The Corolla's supposed to be out this month. That Corolla, that ain't coming out in the next 2 weeks. Not with what they showed. I mean, unless they have it way more done than that, and they just brought the 3D prototype out. No, it's not happening. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to go over. I guess that's it. The only thing we had kit-wise was one reissue. And this is actually a April spot run that Aoshima did. I forgot to talk about it last video. Actually, we didn't forget to talk about it. It just wasn't out. I thought all of April was done, but it wasn't. This is Sakemoto's Suzuki Cappuccino, obviously from the initial D series. Guys, anybody who's looking for an actual Suzuki Cappuccino kit, that's what this is. The front bumper cover, which, if you look at this, goes, that's not a Suzuki Cappuccino. The front bumper cover is a completely separate piece. You just glue it on over the factory stock bumper. It doesn't require any kind of trimming or fitting or anything else like that. And then you get a set of racing seats and some roll hoops for behind the seat should you roll your cappuccino down the hill. You won't die, I guess. You don't really appreciate how small this car is, or the Honda Beat, or the other little K-car Japanese things, the Honda S800, the original 311 Fairlady, until you get them out in a model form and you put them next to anything. I mean, just take a Suzuki Cappuccino, a Honda Beat, a Honda S800, the Daihatsu Copen. Take any of those kits and sit them next to the 1/25th scale 59 Cadillac. You can put them inside the 1/25th scale 59 Cadillac. They're teeny tiny little cars. I guess one other thing before I forget, because I was flipping through the pages there. We talked about these Ebro kits that were being put into pre-order on Hobby Search. And we said eventually HobbyLink Japan will list them, and then we should have a set of release dates for them. Well, that had happened last week. They are available through Hobby Search. They are a few dollars cheaper than Hobby, or on HobbyLink Japan now. They're a few dollars cheaper than Hobby Search. That tends to be the traditional way things go. The 1/20th scale Lotus Type 88 1981 cars. There's going to be two different versions there. I'm not exactly sure when they're coming out particularly, but it's July and August. Like I said, there's two versions. I don't know which one's coming out first. I assume the Type 88 and the Type 88A in that order. But for August, both of the 124 scale cars that we're more interested in, the Citroen 2CV pickup truck and the Citroen DS19, are both now tentatively scheduled for August. The DS19, I believe, should be ready to go, if not earlier than that, because the test shots, the production test shots they did for Nuremberg, look like they were pretty spot on already. So, you know, it could just be a lot of fine-tuning and licensing work and box art and decals and all the happy nonsense that goes on towards the end of the actual production into distribution. The 2CV, there were pickup trucks, there were test shots done, but they were test shots. You could tell they weren't production run. The 2CV pickup truck is slotting in just under $45 at like $43.70 something, and the DS19 is slotting in again just under $60 at something like $57 something. So again, they're really unique kits in the subject matter. I realize they're not for everybody. Not everybody's going to be interested in a 2CV pickup truck. Not everybody's going to be interested in the DS19, even if it was one of the most beautiful car designs of the last century on pretty much every list you look at. But if you want these kits, guys, this is what the reality of the situation is. A lot like the Accurate Miniatures cars were a lot more expensive than anything else was when they were still in business. The way Galaxy Limited stuff is more expensive than anybody else's stuff. Mobius is not as expensive as other things because they have, of course, the large sci-fi following, so they have some capital to work with. They're not actually creating stuff, out of nothing the way Galaxy Limited did, the way Accurate Miniatures did. And Ebro is a new company. They did die-cast out the wazoo for years, but the plastic kit, they're trying to make that survive on its own, and so you're going to have to pay the freight to get these kits. I have pre-ordered one of each. I will support them. I like their models. If you choose to do so, I think you'll be happy with what you get. If you don't, I totally understand it. All I ask is you don't go on some tangent on a message board about how expensive things are, because the reality is there's no, other than maybe a convertible version and really out there a station wagon version of the DS19, there's only a couple of changes the car ever went through in its production run. And so there's not a lot of versions they could do of it. And the 2CV Citroen pickup truck, in addition to just being a pickup truck, is also getting not exactly a first gen, but a much older style grille and treatment than the Citroen that's based off of from the Tamiya kit, and then the Fourgonnet that they did based on the Tamiya kit. I think this 2CV pickup truck is a standalone kit. I don't know how much of it's going to actually use the Tamiya kit, because of course they have a lot of these French car parts now from doing the Renaults that they did. So I think the reason why you're getting a $45 pickup truck kit when the other ones were less than $45 is the fact that I believe this is actually going to be almost all new, their own tooling, and not relying on the Tamiya offering for like the engine and the chassis and everything else. Plus, like I said, they're backdating it to create a much older 2CV. Be interested to see if they do an older version of the 2CV in general. Heller did one, but not a lot of people realize that, you look at a 2CV and you're like, ugh, it's an ugly car. I don't want 3 of those. But the, Heller's is an older version too. So it is what it is, guys. Like I said, the only thing I ask of you guys is if you don't want to pay for it, you're not interested in it, just go on your happy way. Thing I've noticed a couple times recently, both when the prices of these kits came out, as well as some other stuff, it's a really annoying trend on forums, Facebook, Tube, of of people needing to feel the need to chime in and tell you what they don't like. Now, I realized in the beginning of this video I said I didn't want the Revell snap-type NASCAR kits. That's just my personal opinion. I'm just, based on what I know. Maybe I'll decide along the way that I do want them, as I find out more about them. But I'm never going to say, well, that's a waste of money, that's a waste of tooling. I've seen that about these NASCAR kits already, and we've only known about them for 3 days. But, I don't get the point of signing on to something just to go, I don't like this is stupid. If you don't like it, move along. You got 500 kits in your basement anyway. Go build something you already own, or, wait until they make something you like. Complaining about stuff, that other people are going to build that you don't build is just annoying. And that's your final thought for the video. Anyway, guys, 100 giveaways, 100 subscriber giveaway video is the video that's right below this one as far as the way the channel is aligned right now. If you want to join in on that, please comment in that video. Do not comment in this video. I'm not going to count entries that say, enter me in the giveaway, that are in this video, or any other videos we do between now and when I close off the comment section, simply because I believe if you want to get free stuff, the least you can do is follow the simple rule of commenting in the right place. Anyway, guys, we'll see you on the other side.